Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Good Morning Games. My name is Jason.
What's up? This is Alex.
And today we are going to talk about the brand new Switch that was announced, the OLED version of the Switch, which is definitely not what anyone expected.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was really predicting this type of model of Switch to come out this year. I think everybody kind of had their hearts set on the Switch Pro, which would include hardware upgrades. But this is what we got. This is what we're getting.
Yeah. So where do we want to start here? I mean, I think one thing that we can kind of start with is, when everything really went into motion and everyone started really believing that this was coming. I mean, we've been talking about it for years, but there was that Bloomberg article that, once that came out, I think that everyone was like, all right, this is coming. And this OLED Switch is everything that article said, except for the upgrades to, visuals and fidelity and things like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of, reporters and insiders were, they hyped up DLSS as the means for the Switch to run 4K. And I think it seems like it just got all combined and mashed into one thing, and that was never what this was going to be. And of course, the internet just went crazy with it. And
yeah, definitely. So I think right now it seems like that, at least from my point of view, the Nintendo community and gaming community in general is pretty down on this.
That's what it seems like.
What it seems like. And we'll talk about what we think individually, but I guess first we can just kind of go over what it is. So, I mean, the main difference is obviously it has an OLED screen. It's a 7-inch OLED screen, which OLED in general is going to make the colors more vibrant, the blacks more deep. Just in general, the difference is that every single pixel has its own lighting behind it instead of like an LED screen I believe it's like all one lighting behind it. I think that's how it works. Yeah,
it gives a better contrast.
Yeah.
And the old screen was like you said, 6.2, and it was an LCD. So the
LCD.
the OLED should look good.
Yeah, and then there's a wide adjustable stand in the back, which is what I was expecting when those reports came out. I kind of said I was picturing like a Surface Pro, and that's what it is. I mean, it's one of those. Mm-hmm. It's going to be nice. I mean, whatever. I don't know anyone who loves playing in tabletop. Maybe if you're on an airplane and have your tray table down and want to do that or something. But I don't. Yeah. I think tabletop mode is my least used method. 100%. I never really do. And then the dock has the wired LAN port. It has 64 gigabytes of internal storage instead of 32. And then it says it has enhanced audio. I don't think they've went into description what that is. I heard somewhere someone say, I don't know if it was on a podcast and I don't know if it's been confirmed, that it's just going to be like stereo audio. And normally the Switch itself was only putting out mono. I'm not positive if that's what it is. I just heard that.
That would be amazing. Yeah. We figured it out in 2021. We've got stereo now.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So, and I will say, I really like the white and the dock as well in white.
It's clean.
I think it looks really clean and slick. So I do like how it looks. So, and it's obviously it's going to take the same Joy-Cons. I mean, everything's pretty much the same. So
the only other thing is sorry.
No, you're good.
The only other thing is the dock has the wired LAN port.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. What were you winding up for there?
I was just going to say, I guess, back to what I said, it looks like, I mean, man, every poll I've seen, online, just on YouTube channels or whatever, if someone asks, are you going to get it? It is overwhelmingly no. And I will say I am one of the few people who keeps clicking yes. And I'm like, oh man, no one else is. But again, I've said this before. I play my Switch
95% in handheld mode. I don't know what it is. That's just how I play games. I think it's because I like to like pick up games and put them down. I just like, I don't really sit down and like just want a game for hours on end. I don't know why. So I've just always played it in handheld mode. I think I also just like the screen right in my face. But I barely put my Switch in the dock, which I know is like a huge purpose of it. But so I'm excited for this. I mean, obviously I wanted something more, but hey, it's going to be an improvement on handheld. So, and I've had a day one Switch, so mine now has like cracks in it. And it's starting to feel like, okay, I could use a replacement. So I'm going to get it.
Yeah. I think obviously, yeah, this improvement, this OLED model is 100% for people who play in handheld mode. And that's great. It's kind of like an upgrade. I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Grubb, who said this is more of an improvement to the Switch Lite than it is the base Switch, because it's really only affecting handheld mode. The 64 gig hard drive upgrade, that's nothing. That's nothing. Not anything to be excited about.
It's a couple games.
Yeah. And the wired LAN port, I mean,
you can buy like a USB thing that'll just become a LAN port, I think so.
That's what I have, and it's fine. It is cool that it's finally integrated, which Nintendo hasn't done on like any consoles. To finally have an Ethernet port. But the color's great, like you said. It looks very cool, very clean, very slick. The color kind of reminds me of when the DS Lite came out, and it instead of the silver, it switched to that like kind of shiny white color. But yeah, I of course immediately I was like, I'm getting this, and then and then as I thought about it, I was like, I don't really need it, because I'm kind of the opposite of you. I play like 90% docked, and really the only time I do handheld is when I'm like laying in bed, like chilling out, playing Animal Crossing or Stardew or something like that.
Yeah.
But man, for those times that I am playing handheld, I'm just going to be pissed off that it's not an OLED screen if I don't get the OLED screen. So I might have to do it.
It seems like most people are like you. I mean, most of the comments, and who knows, I could be wrong. And that's just, the vocal people are usually the angry ones.
Yeah.
But it does seem like most people are saying like, I play at 90% in the dock, so why would I get this? Which is completely understandable. But I will say, in Nintendo's defense, I think that like we did this to ourselves. Like they, in their minds, like, I don't know. It's because of, you know what I mean? Like it's because of all the leaks, or what we call leaks. It's because of the reports, rumors, that we're all like a 4K thing, a 4K Switch is coming. It's coming. If that was never talked about ever, and this came out, it would probably be about the deal that a big of a deal as they wanted it to be. I don't think they want this. I don't think that they're like saying you have to get this. This is the new upgraded Switch Pro. It's just a new model that they're coming out with. And at least as of right now, they're still selling the old one. I think they're probably going to phase that one out, and this one's going to get dropped to 300 at some point. And then if there is, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is a little bit like, it's kind of, I see it both ways in the sense that, yeah, we did it to ourselves. This is just a upgrade that they wanted to put out. But I also see at the same time, well, we did it to ourselves for good reason, because the Switch has now been around for, heading on 5 years, and it probably should have an upgrade.
Yeah, maybe this was supposed to come out last year and got delayed for COVID, or maybe the beginning of this year. Who knows? But it's funny. Kind of on that note, JC Rodrigo, who's one of the heads of marketing at Nintendo, I believe, on Twitter, somebody tweeted at him, "Does it run any better?" And Rodrigo's response was, "Nope, not what it's for. Stick with the current one if you're not digging the screen." So there's somebody straight from Nintendo saying this is not for people who want a hardware boost. This is for people who want a better experience playing in handheld mode, which is fine. This
and
doesn't mean a Pro's not coming.
Yeah, he didn't take that tweet down, so it's not like he went rogue and like, and then Nintendo's like, what are you doing? Like, delete that. Don't,
what are you doing? He's gone crazy.
Well, like it could be just him pissed off at people. And then after he says it, he's like, oh shit, I'm in marketing. I probably shouldn't say that. Yeah. I mean, it's clearly like a thought out thing. He didn't feel the need to delete. Yeah. So then let's go on to what you just said. I feel like as soon as we say this, it's going to get shit on in the comments. But
let's hear it.
Well, it's what you just said. I still think a Pro is coming. It's just
100%.
It's just a matter of, I think because I was on like Resetera, and like there's a thread that says like, do you still think a Switch Pro is coming? And again, it's overwhelmingly no. Like the poll,
really?
Thousands of people saying no, this is it. There's like 75% no, 25% yes. But here's where I think that maybe it could be like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but maybe the difference is maybe it's not going to be called a Switch Pro. Maybe that next one is technically the next Switch. It's just that it's, there's been this whole thought process for a couple years now, that maybe they're just going to reiterate on the Switch, There's not going to be technically like another
Whatever.
New console.
Something not called the Switch.
Yeah. So like maybe I could see that where whatever we're hearing about this DLSS or whatever, it kind of is their next thing that they're going to then have for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility that whatever comes out next year, and I think we're getting a new Switch with upgraded hardware next year. Like I think that's coming. That could very well be something that Nintendo calls their next generation console or hardware or whatever. They might not even they might not say it's a incremental upgrade. They might say this is the next Switch. And I mean, look at what Xbox is doing. Like they're stretching their what am I trying to say? Like they're still supporting Xbox One with new games and obviously the series consoles as well. And PlayStation, when they originally said, well, we believe in console generations, now every new game is on PS5 and PS4. So it's like everyone's stretching the life of the consoles to be longer. And I feel like Nintendo, even though they usually, march to the beat of their own drum, they could definitely be doing that with the Switch, where even though a new Switch hardware comes out that is the next gen, like it'll still use the same cartridge slot.
Yep.
But the games are just going to run better on it, and maybe it'll have Bluetooth audio.
Yeah, God. That was another thing. I'm like, come on, we got to get that.
I think that's what's going to be happening here. The next gen is actually just another Switch, part of the same life cycle or same ecosystem.
Yeah, and I just think that, I don't know, I think people were there was such a vocal crowd of like throughout the past year of being like, there is no Switch Pro. There is no Switch Pro. Anytime like something was brought up about that now that this has been announced, that crowd is even more so like, see, haha, told you. But
it's so dumb.
It's just like there are so many people who have said they've heard about a Switch Pro, and it's not just people that are like kids on the internet. I mean, it's like Bloomberg again does not put out reports like this without some sort of knowledge. Now,
Bloomberg's not a YouTube channel.
Yeah, they might have got this wrong because they heard from one source that they're working on this OLED that looks like this and it looks just like what this one does. And then they heard from another source that's saying, yeah, we're working on a new Switch with DLSS. And so why would they think that that's two different switches? Like, there's no reason that you would think that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, they could definitely have been hearing reports from different sources and, like I said earlier, just combined it into one story when nobody even stopped to think like maybe these are two different two different consoles. Anytime,
because it is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But this is Nintendo, and they tend to, they released 6 3DS models.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
They released 4 regular DS models. It's just while we're on that subject, I'm just going to run through this because it's kind of fascinating. So the 3DS came out in 2011. 2012 they had the XL. 2013 they had the 2DS. 2014 they had the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL. And then these are Japan dates. And then the next one was the new Nintendo 2DS XL, which was 2017. So like every year for 5 years, they had a new version of a 3DS come out.
Yeah.
Which is just wild.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, even though it is a home console, it's also a portable. So it just seems like they're treating it more like they've treated their portables.
Sorry, I'm jumping in all over the place. The other thing I wanted to point out, kind of on the same token, is this goes way back, but in 1998. They released the Game Boy Light, which was Japan exclusive, and this was just a Game Boy Pocket that had a backlight. Later that same year, they released Game Boy Color. In the same year, they released 2 versions of the Game Boy. I don't think it is, like, just because this OLED model has come out, that has no effect whatsoever on a Super Switch or a Switch Pro, whatever, like, with upgraded hardware. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And so on that, it's like, listen, people can be upset in the sense of, for example, I'm going to buy this. I'm like waiting for, I'm waiting for the pre-orders to open. And I'm going to buy it the second I can pre-order it. And,
where are the pre-orders?
And like, I understand that if I spend $350 and in a year from now, they announce this Switch Pro, I'll be a little bit like, oh man, like what that sucks for me. But guess what? I made that decision. Nintendo didn't force it down my throat. I understand that, like, I don't know. I just feel like they can do what they want if they. And I really do think what I think the goal is, what I think is going to happen, and this is just totally me speculating, is the Switch Lite 200, right?
Yes.
So if this, which Bloomberg also reported that this Switch, this OLED, which at the time they thought was the Switch Pro, they said it's going to eventually phase out the original one. So if in a year or a year and a half from now, let's say we get a Switch Pro, a real one that has the DLSS 4K capability, then they can have the Switch Lite at 200, they can have this OLED one at 300, and they can have a Switch Pro at 400. And they can keep that up then for years. I mean, that makes total sense to me. They just wanted to get this out at some point, and now's a good time. So I don't know. I get it, but people don't need to, like, I just don't think people need to bitch, because I think the reason people are bitching is because they're thinking this is the Switch Pro, and I do not think it is. I'm very confident it's not.
It's not. It's just not. And it's okay to be mad. I mean, we are 100% emotionally attached to everything Nintendo does, so our reactions can be irrational. And
100%.
I 100% understand that. But yeah, people need to just chill out. Like, this is not the Switch Pro. This isn't the Super Switch. This is the Switch OLED model, which what the hell? Like, can we get a name? Can we just get a better name for this thing?
I mean, and I will say, honestly, I mean, that is a shitty name, but
it's terrible.
But I also almost think that is even adds to the fact that, like, this is not anything new, because they don't want to name it like a Super Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it's a good point.
They just want to call it, this is just the Nintendo Switch with an OLED. Yeah. They just want to make that clear that this is not anything the next generation. Because if they did add something like a Super, that's going to lead more people to believe this is like their next gen, or at least a half step. And so they're making it pretty clear. I agree the name is shitty, but I think that that's intentional.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that. They threw the parentheses around OLED model and slapped it after Nintendo Switch. It's not snappy. There's nothing marketing related behind that other than let's just tell people what it is. Like there's no flashy name on it, like a DSi, like they didn't add an I to it or anything, or they didn't even put new in front of it. This is not new Nintendo Switch. This is just current Switch, but it's the OLED model. And if you are interested in that, you can go buy it. If you don't need an upgraded screen and stereo sound in your handheld, then you can just stick with your current one, and that's fine. And next year you can get the Super Switch. Again, I'm gonna keep saying it's next year. It's 2022. I don't care. If I'm wrong, I'll go down in flames, but I'm thinking it's 2022.
Yeah, I mean, this is technically a bigger screen. They could have easily called this like the Nintendo Switch Plus.
Yeah, and or XL or whatever.
Yeah, and they chose not to, which makes me think even more so that it's probably going to phase out the other one, the original Switch.
Yeah, but, we're marketing geniuses.
Yeah, but this I know this is just hilarious because we've been talking about this for like months, and now it's a complete restart. But I mean, I gotta think the Switch Pro is coming with Breath of the Wild too.
I think you're spot on there. we're getting the Switch Pro and Breath of the Wild.
They're both just pushed back a year farther from what we thought they were.
Damn it. Yeah. I think we're gonna get the Switch Pro next year, same day as a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Oh, that's another thing. The OLED is launching the same day as Metroid Dread,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And if you look back at the Switch Lite, that launched the same day as the Pokemon games. So, it's clear that Nintendo likes
Link's Awakening. It launched with Link's Awakening.
Oh, that's right. But there was a Switch Lite Pokemon model. That's what it was. Still don't know why they didn't do a Link's Awakening Switch Lite. That would have been great. But Nintendo likes to launch hardware with games, even if there's there's absolutely no correlation to Switch OLED and Metroid Dread.
There is not, but it did look pretty slick with that first scene of Samus with her white suit, and then the white Emmy robot with the white. I mean, I don't think that had anything to do with it, but it did look slick. I thought that looked really nice.
Yeah, they're going with the neon white theming there. Yeah, that's good.
That's kind of almost another topic which we don't need to talk about fully now. I think we should probably have another episode where we talk more about Metroid Dread. Just a full one dedicated to the marketing behind that. But I mean, that's awesome for Metroid Dread. I mean, that honestly, even if this thing isn't like a smash, the OLED isn't a smash success, just the fact that that's the game they're choosing to release it around. I mean, you would have to think the people who don't have a Switch and want to pick this one up, that might be the game they want to pick it up with.
Yeah, I think the fact that Nintendo is marketing Metroid Dread so much, it makes me think that they are very pleased with how that game's coming along and are expecting, people to buy it, and especially putting it with the parentheses OLED model. Other parentheses. but yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about with this OLED?
It comes in a new box that is vertical instead of horizontal.
Yeah, and that's pretty sick. Looked cool. Did look like a cool box.
I mean, it's different. It's different from the other one. And who knows? I mean, I'm sure it'll be lots of fun to unbox. So they got that going for it.
Yeah. I really do think that, and this might sound a little dumb, but I don't think Nintendo is thinking that this is going to be some smash success that's going to like I don't think they're expecting this to sell more than the Switch Lite did when it came, or the original. I just think it's a version that they're putting out that will get some people who haven't got it yet who haven't gotten a Switch yet. They'll be like, all right, well, maybe I'll get this new version. Or like idiots like me who do have one.
The triple dippers.
Yeah, who are going to dip again. Yeah, but
I have a launch Switch, and then I bought early last year. I bought the Animal Crossing one because I wanted that battery, and I thought the Animal Crossing Joy-Con were just too good to not have. I could triple dip and go the OLED model. Like, there's definitely people like us who are like Nintendo whales who just buy everything that they put out, and it's crazy because the regular Switch, the base Switch, whatever, is still selling really, really well. So this OLED model, it's just kind of like putting more gas in the tank and making sure they don't run out of steam. It's like, they're just going to, people, like, because there are going to be people who are excited about this, and it's going to boost their sales numbers. It's just, the Switch is doing really, really well.
Yeah, and that's, you brought up another thing that, that, because I have a day one, a launch edition Switch, and I've never upgraded, this is even more, because like you said, the battery life, like my Switch dies in pretty quick, a couple hours and it's dead. So that's another thing.
You're going to love that new battery.
Yeah, I get new battery, get a better screen, get some, just amazing sound. So yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah. I'm going to... As soon as the Amazon link goes up, as soon as Wario64 tweets that Amazon link, I know I'm going to hit it, and I know I'm going to hit buy now, and then I'll just decide before October 8th or whatever if I'm going to keep it. But I'm definitely going to do the pre-order, and I'll probably keep it. I got a lot of trips this year, the end of this year. I gotta have an OLED screen for those plane rides.
It's gonna be funny it's gonna be funny if it's just like not that notable.
Not much different.
Just like, oh shit.
And it's gonna be impossible to tell unless you have both Switches in person. Like, I feel like a YouTube video of side-by-side comparison is not gonna help at all with this. Yeah. Because it's whatever. But I feel like you have to see it in person to see the difference.
Yeah. I think what maybe would have, it's okay that they didn't, and this is the first time I've even thought of this. Maybe what would have helped a little bit is if they put this one, the OLED, out for $300 and bumped the original down to $250 or something. That might have been a little bit better.
Maybe they would have if the Switch wasn't selling so well. Like, they could have easily done that, but they're like, why would we cut the price when people are buying it like really like a lot right now? That was a horrible sentence, but people are still buying the Switch
for sure.
I think the 200 Switch Lite, drop this thing down to 300, and then the 400 Super Switch or Switch Pro, whatever.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, anything else on that?
I don't think so. I wish they would have upgraded the Joy-Con, but again, this is the same Switch, just with a better screen. So maybe we'll get that Joy-Con upgrade with next year.
I did see it is like, I don't know I'm making this number up, but it's like 0.1 inch or something wider than the original Switch. So it might not fit exactly with Labo. It said like down at the bottom of the screen or something. It's the only it's like so slightly bigger. I feel like it'll still fit. It just won't be perfect, but it is a little bit wider, I guess.
This says 9.5 inches long compared to the original Switch, which is 9.4 inches long.
Yeah, there you go. So 0.1.
It also weighs 0.4 pounds more. So it is very slightly heavier.
Interesting.
But that's the Switch OLED model, and
I'm surprised it's not up for pre-order yet. What is this? Thursday at 6 p.m. on the West Coast.
Yeah, they. I feel like it should have gone up by now, and they didn't say when pre-orders would go live. So obviously, we're just like sitting here with the tweet notifications on, waiting. seeing all kinds of stuff like, oh, GameStop's selling vinyl now. Like, I don't care. Just give me the Switch OLED pre-order notification.
Yeah. And also, something that we should say, this could also have to do with that chip shortage, which we have talked about. People had said, like, there were multiple people saying, like, before this was ever announced, like, I don't know how they're going to get, like, the Switch Pro out this year with the chip shortage.
Yeah.
Like, it would have to be too pricey. They'd have to charge too much for it. So that could have something to do with it. But, I mean, but still, I feel like it was, I don't know, this was probably always in their plans. I don't think they, like, changed plans dramatically.
No, everything probably just got pushed a few months or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think they made any huge changes other than delays. But, the other thing I was going to say is, kind of what we were talking about earlier. They did, when they were in the marketing for this, in the video, they showed a lot of Metroid, and then they did show the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and they showed Splatoon 3, which was kind of cool because we haven't heard anything about that since the reveal earlier this year. What else did they show? It's cool that they were just showing like the newer games and stuff that's not even out yet.
They showed the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and I saw someone post side-by-side pictures online
that's right.
Of like how it looks now versus how it looked in the trailer, and it does look better.
It does look better.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think we just covered all of it. I don't think there's anything. Oh, the new kickstand looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I'm not too upset. We were obviously looking forward to a Switch Pro, but whatever. We look forward to a lot of things and they don't happen. So whatever. I am a little worried about Pokemon Legends Arceus because that game was in such rough shape when we last saw it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that there for sure had to be a Switch Pro for that, but who knows? Maybe it's all cleaned up by now, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I think it's coming out in January. I don't think it's getting delayed, and
Pokemon rarely delays, if ever. I mean, I don't know for sure, but Pokemon doesn't really delay once they announce something.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's weird that January we're getting Elden Ring and a brand new huge Pokemon game. Like those are two pretty big releases that you would think they would just try to get them out like 4 or 5 weeks earlier to make it for Christmas. But
yeah, that is weird.
That's I think that game's coming out January, and I have no idea how it's going to be. It might run shitty when it launches. I don't know.
That would just be so like. If it is running shitty, they got to delay that because, like, I don't want it to get hated on, and then that's their excuse to not make more open world Pokemon games.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That could happen if it comes out and it's in a bad state. It's gonna get bad reviews.
Bashed. Yeah,
and then they're gonna be like, all right, well, we should just stick to what we do.
That who knows what's gonna happen not with Arceus, but.
Any other news you want to talk about?
I kind of want to just for a minute talk about this Assassin's Creed thing.
Sure.
Neither of us play that game very much. But so Ubisoft announced, well, first Bloomberg reported, and then Ubisoft like almost immediately confirmed that Assassin's Creed is going to turn into something called Assassin's Creed Infinity, which will be a platform, like a live service platform, through which all Assassin's Creed content will be filtered. So there's no more standalone release coming out every year or 18 months or whatever. And instead of having Ubisoft Montreal and Quebec work on separate titles, they're going to work together on Assassin's Creed Infinity. And on one hand, I hate this because how do you, like, from a game preservation standpoint, are all these Assassin's Creed games just going to go away eventually, like when they stop doing Infinity? Because at some point they will stop, or maybe they won't because they are calling it Infinity, so it's just going to go on forever. But I kind of like having standalone releases. I don't know. I have no idea how much this Infinity thing is going to cost or what like the micro transaction thing will be. I'm picturing you just have a character and you're in like a central hub type of world, and you walk or like choose through a menu different Assassin's Creed experiences, like, and on one hand, maybe we'll get cool, shorter, smaller Assassin's Creed games along with the huge, massive games that we have been getting. Maybe it'll open up opportunities for that type of thing, but turning Assassin's Creed into a live service, like that sentence alone just makes me think, oh, this is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I'm never really a big fan of live service games, and especially with like an established series where, I mean, the thing about Assassin's Creed, I'm not like huge. I played Black Flag.
Yeah, that's the best one.
And I played another one, I can't remember, but at least each of them is like, you know, a different time and a different thing like that. So it's like, that's kind of a cool thing. It gives the people who make these games, you know, something new to create each time. And how is this one going to be different? So I don't know. Anything that's live service, it kind of bums me out. It feels like it's, I don't know, kills the creativity a bit.
Yeah, it might end up being great, but I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, definitely.
There was a State of Play today, Sony State of Play. They showed a bunch of Deathloop. It looks fun. I'm not gonna buy it, but it looks fun. I'm guessing in like a year it'll be on Game Pass.
Yes.
So I'll wait for that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they gave some updates on some smaller games that I cannot remember any of the names. Sorry, I'm just butchering this whole State of Play segment. But yeah, that's all we got. That's the Good Morning Games State of Play update.
Yeah, I saw a lot. There was Last Judgment, which I know people are excited about. That was like it's a spin-off, I believe, of the Yakuza series. And I guess the first one apparently was really, really good. But that was the only other game I saw that I, believe is notable, but I could be wrong as well.
Yeah. Cool. What are you playing right now?
Yeah, I just pulled out my Switch. So, I have been playing. I got a new game called Ender Lilies. I saw it on like on the eShop. It was like on the featured page, and I was like, oh, I never even heard of that before. And so I looked at it. It looked pretty cool. It's a Metroidvania, and then I looked at the reviews on Metacritic, and it was like in the 90s. And like I started reading all the reviews, and people who were reviewing it were like, "This is the best Metroidvania game in years." And I'm like,
whoa,
how have I never heard of this game? I've literally never heard of it, and this was the first time was after it's been out. And yeah, I've been playing it for like a week, and it's awesome. It's like I don't know, it's awesome. You're like you're in this world that kind of has been taken over by some sort of rot, or something is like overtaken. Like everyone got overtaken by this kind of like a disease or something, and they're all like dead or like zombified. Not zombified, but like they've been taken over by
There's some kind of shadow people.
That's like taken over everyone. And some of them still are like aware that they are aware of what's happening. Others aren't. They're just completely like zombified. And you're like the only person who this rot doesn't like affect. And so you're called like the priestess or something, and you're like supposed to go and like save everyone. So a boss, like it's like a Metroidvania, and all of a sudden you'll show up at a boss, and it's like this monster, but after you kill it, you like, I think you're like, you kind of are like, what's the word? You're kind of like sending them on to like the afterlife after you kill them. And it'll say like, you're getting rid of the rot. And it says like, after you beat them, it says like, this was, this person, like with a name, he like took you to the safe place on the way. You remember him like doing this, but now he's like this monster that you had to beat. So I don't know. It's cool. It's really dark and like ominous, but I really like it so far.
I'm looking at some screenshots right now. It looks like it has a really cool art style. So yeah, that's Ender Lilies on the Switch. How much was it on the eShop? Was it 20?
Yeah, I think 20.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look into that.
It's definitely good. So I've just been playing that and Mario Golf, probably like just like a game or two every day.
Yeah, I'm still playing Mario Golf Super Rush as well. Still wondering why why that game has no unlockables and no online point system, but yeah. It's still fun to play like with friends if you get 2 or 3 or 4 friends together to play online. It's fun to play, but there's no reason to play it by yourself, really, after you beat adventure mode.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm still doing it. So I'm still doing Mario Golf. I'm going crazy on Tetris 99 still. I don't know if I'll ever stop playing Tetris 99. It's my favorite, like, pick up for 20 minutes and run 3 matches and then put it down thing.
That's awesome.
And I started playing FIFA 21 again, but that's about it for me right now. I'm just waiting for Skyward Sword HD to come out. I've been watching more videos about Skyward Sword, and now I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did we talk about that last time? I don't think we did. They put out what's it called? The quality of life video.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
Yeah. So yeah, they did put out that quality of life video. I don't obviously have everything in front of me, but the biggest 2 things are the fee or fi is optional. It looks like they put out a video show on Twitter showcasing exactly what that means. It sounds like normally when she would have popped out of the sword and said like, hey, it's really hot in here, you got to wear, your heat suit or whatever. Instead, the sword just dings and then you can push the button or not. And it only dings once, which as soon as I in the trailer, when they said like her help is optional and it showed like your sword flashing, I was like, oh God, is it just going to keep flashing until you hit it? But then on Twitter, they showed a video and it was like, it just dinged once and you can like choose to look for the help or not. So that's probably the biggest quality of life. And the other is that problem with the items where now it only tells you what the item is the first time you pick it up, which it's crazy that was ever a problem.
Yeah. That had to be like a bug that it just reset every time you turned off your game or whatever.
But yeah, the fee thing was my biggest issue. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm excited to try it. My girlfriend is going to the Bahamas next Wednesday for like a week. And so I am pretty much planning on just sitting on my ass as soon as Skyward Sword comes out and beating that game in like 5 or 6 days and just ordering food for a week. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like the dream, honestly. The other improvements were, if this is an improvement, you can skip the cutscenes in Skyward Sword now, and it's 60 FPS, and obviously the stick controls, the button controls, so you don't have to use those pesky motion controls. But when I was watching videos of this game just looks, it has a very unique look to it that I am trying to like. I don't hate it, but it's just like, because it's a Wii game, there's a lot of flat looking textures, like not as much detail as you would expect from a game, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of ugly in a weird way, but it's also very unique and kind of cool. I don't know. I'm back and forth on it.
I think it might have been Grub who was talking about this, so I don't really remember. I played Skyward Sword one time, I beat it, and that was in 2011, and I have not played it since. So I remember like dungeons and I remember bosses, but I don't remember that much. And in whatever Grub's, that new Nintendo podcast they came out with, he was talking about how what he really liked. It sounded like he's a fan of the game, and he was saying he liked that they brought the stuff that's normally in a dungeon also outside of the dungeon. So there's a lot of puzzles like before you get into a dungeon. And I don't really remember that, but that's awesome. So I'm excited about that. He was like, yeah, I really liked that. There's a ton of puzzles on the outside world. So yeah, that got me excited again.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I can't wait. And that comes out a week from today, I think.
Yeah. July 16th, the week from tomorrow.
Week from tomorrow. Okay.
Which is today when this podcast comes out.
Yeah. Cannot wait for Skyward Sword HD. For that sweet Wii game.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one that like I think a lot of people are kind of feeling like this, because most people I've talked to or hear feel the same way, that like they either played it and quit, or they beat it once in 2011 and haven't played it since. So it's like, I think people are a little more excited about this remake than normal game remakes, just because people haven't played it in so long.
I think that makes sense. I I was so deep into Skyrim when this came out that when I finally put down Skyrim for like a minute and tried Skyward Sword, I couldn't get into it because all I wanted to do was play Skyrim. So I never even beat this to begin with. I played it a bit and then just went back to Skyrim. But so yeah, I'm super excited to actually play through the whole thing.
Yeah.
See what I missed out on.
Yeah, and I think like as long as you go in with that expectation of like, yeah, it's probably the worst 3D Zelda. But it's, I just mean it's still a great game. Like, you know, at least I remember like thinking it was a great game. It's just, all the 3D Zeldas are amazing. So it's
exactly,
you know, yeah, it's still probably like an 8 out of 10. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's no bad 3D Zelda in my opinion. Yeah. So even if it is the worst one, it could still be an 8 or even a 8.5, maybe a 9. Like, because I don't think I'd put any of them. Definitely wouldn't put any of them below an 8.
Yeah, I wouldn't put any of them below a 9 probably. Maybe Skyward Sword's probably the only one I would say 8, but who knows? With this remake, could be a 9. So yeah, I'm excited, and we'll have to do a review of it as well, even though it's a 10-year-old game in a sense.
Oh yeah, we're gonna review that. We're gonna review the shit out of that game. Okay. Anything else before we get up out of here?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, again, thank you guys for listening. Feel free to reach out to us, GM Games Podcast on Twitter and goodmorninggamespodcast@gmail.com. You can email us some questions. And thank you guys for listening. And I guess we'll see ya.
We'll see ya.